As an asset management executive, are you ready to answer hard financial questions across all your assets under management? Do you struggle to consolidate information across multiple entities? Can you analyze data across investments in real time? Are tough decisions documented in the context of your portfolio for future reference? Are you GAAP compliant and audit ready? Introducing Sage Intacct, the cloud financial system meeting these demands for asset management firms and used for over $500 billion in assets under management. Interviews with thought leaders in asset management have brought to light the acceleration and the diversification into alternative and illiquid assets such as real estate, infrastructure, private equity, hedge funds, or private debt, potentially across multiple geographies. They've recognized the need to protect clients through not only more legal entities, but also more complex legal structures. Previously, this sort of structure was only available to large or sophisticated firms. We've seen a major shift to this strategy even by modestly sized firms. Lawyers, tax accountants, and auditors agree that the effective utilization of this strategy is fundamental to the protection of assets, acquisition of assets, and sale of assets. Let me briefly show you how Sage Intacct keeps you in control across your assets under management. In this simple example, an asset management firm has 3 funds dealing with U.S. real estate, European real estate, and private equity. The tools and processes are equally applicable to different kinds of funds in different locations. We start with a built-in RoleBased Dashboard that instantly captures financial information from across the business. The managers for each fund see just their part of the business. U.S. fund managers see just the U.S. fund. European fund managers see just the European fund, and so on, while the CFO and Chief Investment Officer can see information across all the funds. Recent hurricane activity has caused concerns about the U.S. fund and how it's impacting the office overall. A board meeting scheduled for next week is moved to this afternoon. In the CFO view of the European real estate fund, we instantly see the latest financial and operational analysis in key performance indicators. We can see that generated revenue is down versus prior quarter, but up versus prior year. Drilling down into the data, we instantly see the transactions driving that metric. Getting to underlying data right inside the system of record is a key component to staying GAAP compliant and surviving an audit. Jumping over to the U.S. real estate fund, we see that assets have been suddenly impacted and come down. We see the latest financials and KPIs for instant analysis by the Chief Investment Officer and the CFO. Because asset class is tracked as a dimension, we can see how each individual asset class affects the fund. As we move to private equity, we can see that our private equity company has made a breakthrough. They're getting extra funding with a post-money valuation of $50 million, up from $5 million. The Chief Investment Officer and CFO both have instant access to this data. Looking at these 3 different funds, we see that they have different focuses, but a shared chart of accounts, and the board wants the top-down picture this afternoon. Because a shared chart of accounts allows for continuous consolidation, the CFO can pull up information from across the organization. If you work across borders in multiple currencies, the system automatically consolidates to a single base currency for consistent analysis. From this top-level view, we can see that overall, we're doing well. We can also look at the consolidated funds from the perspective of the Chief Investment Officer, gaining additional insights into metrics important to that role. Beyond tracking what you did and when you did it, it's important to track why you did it. Rather than relying on emails, Intacct provides a consistent front-to-back office compliance tool. You collaborate on decisions and then document those decisions in the context of the financial records they relate to. Note the CFO's comment. After seeing the consolidated data, we have decided to have a renewed focus on European real estate. We need to analyze by location. Also, we need further cash-on-cash analysis. Great job getting the details for the board book on short notice. Notice the included snapshot of the graph now permanently stored as part of the conversation. A follow-up note from the Chief Investment Officer says, given the decisions made at the board meeting today, we have a short-term opportunity on a golf course in Italy. We are behind on the deal and need to decide ASAP. Check cash and committed capital. A year from now, when executives are discussing why they shifted focus, they can replace recollections and speculation with a documented decision and audit trail. With a consistent view across all the funds, we can continue to slice and dice by fund, location, and asset class, including foreign funds and private equity over time, all with no IT support. With dozens or even hundreds of entities, the process is the same. In summary, using Intacct's dashboards as a starting point, members of the board analyze the strategy in real time, using financial and operational data consolidated from across the portfolio. They drill down to see the meaning behind the numbers, the transactions, and the collaborative conversations. Executives were able to define problems and decide what to do next. And then, and this is important, they were able to document those decisions, capturing a record for future discussions. Along the way, automated close and roll-up processes keep the company GAAP compliant and audit ready. And because the office has been so successful, it's been able to quickly add entities and keep growing. Start gaining greater insight and control of all your assets under management by scheduling a live demo of Sage Intacct today.